Here we have HP A903 audio analyzer. Bought on eBay, £150 UK money. Faulty. Well, it is as advertised. Power him up. There we go, error 19. Now when I first bought it did say error 18. So prior to powering it up, I thought I'd do the obvious first and I'd check out all the videos on YouTube on what common faults could be. Nobody seems to report this error 18 or 19. So I decided I'm going to pull all the cards. Let's turn it back off again, I don't want to run it too long. The faulty caps that I found were on the A2 card, and it's easy enough to remove. You would normally have a little red lug just about here, but unfortunately it broke off on this one. Let's just get my tug. And that's your A2 card. Now what I did find was these two capacitors, which are C20 and C21, didn't quite look right, which are actually located here. Now I had some 470 microfarad caps. These are actually supposed to be 330 or 350 microfarads, I believe it is. 350 microfarads, 16 volt. I've replaced them with from 470-63. That's what I've got lying around. This fuse had blown. Replaced that fuse, and I'll show you what these read. But I have checked every capacitor that's electrolytic or tant on all of the cards, so I'm quite happy that the rest are okay. Now there are quite a few YouTube videos showing you which, like I think it's on one of the A7 cards or something, that you need to change a load of the caps. I've checked those caps and they seem to read okay, so for now I don't want to spend too much money on this. Just want to get it up and running, see if we can get rid of the error codes, then we'll maybe look at getting some better components and getting it calibrated. We'll test these two capacitors, and they are linked to the minus and plus 15 volt rail. This is C20. It's reading slightly low. It's supposed to be 350 microfarads, it's reading as 244 microfarads. Let's just test C20 or C21, whichever one it is. Yeah, and as you can see, that's definitely not right. 12 nanofarads. So we changed those two caps, checked all the other caps, and they all seem to be okay. But what I did notice as well, well, I didn't notice it, it was blaringly obvious, was C1 and C2 were missing, which are the main supply caps for the plus and minus 15 volts. Which sort of tells you a story really. So somebody's obviously been diagnosing that part of the board. And if I power him up, better error 19, got our standard LEDs there blinking, waiting for me to press a button. But if we look down there, I don't know if you can see that, but we're missing the minus 15 volt rail. So a little bit more investigation. On this riser card is where your voltage regulators sit, and they're mounted on the back of the unit, TO3 cases I believe. F3 is the fuse, showing the circuit diagram there, which is just there, for the 15 volt regulator. On the back of the unit there's this A11 board, and that has all the voltage regulators mounted on there. And this is your minus 15 volt regulator. Fortunately they're very simple to change, just undo the screws, pull it out, push it back in, it's done on pins, no soldering iron required. Just make sure the isolators are back in place before you power it back up. I did some basic tests and I checked the fuse was fine. And if we have a quick look on the circuit diagram, on the A11 board, the input is pin 3 to the 15 volt regulator, minus 15 volt regulator, and the output is on pin 2. When I probed it with the meter, sticking the meter across pin 3, I got 25 volts roughly, and on the output of the voltage regulator, zilch. Big day's finally come. My chippers are finally, well, my transistor has finally arrived in the post. Just going to take out the two screws, make sure we keep the isolation washers in place. No soldering, just lift it out, drop that one in. So I'll get that done and then we'll give it a power up and try. Well, just to summarise what we've done, we've changed C20, C21 on the A2 card. I've had to, unfortunately I had these, they're C1, C2, the large capacitors in the power supply were missing off this board totally. We've changed the minus 15 volt regulator, which is on the back of the unit there. Put the plate back on, simple enough to do, no soldering iron needed. And I think really all that's left to do now is to actually just power it up. Let's see if it's actually working. Okay, so we've dropped the transistor in. Well, let's give them a power up and see what happens. We have light. We have readings. You've got a clue what it's reading at the moment. Let's check those LEDs at the back, and all four are on now, showing we've got the minus 15 volt as rail as well. So all the rails have come up. Now we just need to do some self tests. Well, we've got it powered up. We've left it running for about an hour now. I've just decided to put a loop back connector between the highs on the input and output. I really don't know how to test this, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm doing this wrong, but I've set the frequency to 1 kilohertz, the amplitude to 1 volt, and set it to distortion, and I'm getting about 0.026 on there. One of the tests I did see was to press special function 41.0 or 41.0 special, which sort of clears the display down. Set the amplitude to 3 volts, and the distortion hasn't changed much, but then it's changed to dB, and you should be getting less than 86 dB, which we'll get in there, so it seems to be pretty much in calibration. I bought it on eBay, spares repairs, with the error code 18, and all it's cost me is £15 at the moment for the minus 15 volt regulator. And as long as you've got your 4 LEDs down the back there showing you've got supply rails, these seem to follow that format on those ones. The two caps that are changed on the front board I already had, so that's cost me nothing. So I'm going to do a little bit more investigation now, do a few more tests, try and learn how to use it a little bit better. I really haven't got a clue at the moment. It was something that I wanted, so hopefully if anybody comes up with that error code, it could be associated just to your power supplies. Well, I hope that helps if you come across one of these. Forgive me if I've tested it wrong. I really haven't got a clue at the moment, so I've got a sort of lot of reading to do, and watch quite a few YouTube videos, and hopefully I can pick up the best way to get this into calibration.